Morning, everybody. Welcome. Call to order at 7:30. Just stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. First order of business will be approval of minutes from July 15th. I know Jenny provided them. If anybody has any questions on the minutes, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from July 15th.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. There is no old business. Next to project administration, item D1, bid document release authorizations. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. We're going to introduce, we'll formally appoint Tim. This is Mr. Tim Kane. He's now the Executive Director of Secondary Education. He was formerly the Career and Tech Director. You will become our education official, right? The education mission member of the building committee. So you'll see another familiar face.
Welcome.
Well, see you guys. A lot of you guys I met before. So
Thank you for reminding me, though. I forgot. It's okay. All right, so D1, bid document release authorizations, RFP 260001, Sherman Fencing. Steve.
All right, in your packet is the bid documents for this. Over at Sherman, when we did the renovations over there 3 years ago, we put in a detention pond to hold the site drainage. However, it drains very slowly because of site conditions over there, and it's constantly holding water. We've gotten complaints from neighbors, parents, and the principal. So I've gone out to bid upon request and seek your approval for that release.
So moved.
Moved Mr. McCaffrey, seconded by Ms. Gloria. Any questions for Steve on that? Yes, Mr. DeCourt.
Who's gonna maintain it?
Maintain what,
The interior of it?
of the pond?
Yeah.
We maintain all our own,
Okay. And
okay?
there'll be an access gate?
There's an access gate, that's correct. It's not that deep, but if a 3 or 4 year old falls in it,
But sometimes when you corral it, it goes unnoticed.
well, it's a constant push for our maintenance department to do that. They don't like to, but we'll make sure it's done.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Steve? All right, hearing none, it's been moved and seconded, looking for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item, bid review and award, bid 25-0020, land appraisal peer review services for Tollgate High School.
Bates.
we don't have a bid to award this month. We went out to bid. We got bids last month for the peer review services. I think that the one bid we received was about triple the cost of the initial appraisal, so that's not acceptable. We did actually reach out to appraisers on the state bid list directly to try to solicit proposals. Didn't have much luck with that. So we are recommending another round of bidding.
Okay, so is there anything for us to, there's nothing for us to?
No action.
No action, okay. All right, keep us posted. We'll see you next month.
We'll do.
Item 3, recommended awards. First is AAA mobile warehousing. To be determined for high school projects. Steve.
This is for storage of athletic equipment. We are adding some more temporarily over at Vets. And then as we move some items from storage container to storage container, then we will eliminate some and turn some back. But so it's kind of like a Tetris game here to get the athletic equipment where it needs to go. So we seek your approval.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Glory. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCaffrey. Mr. DeCourt.
Steve, are they certified clean? The containers?
I can't answer that question. They've got AAA all the time. Are they certified clean in what manner? Like,
Well, I mean, they're used throughout, right? I mean, I could put hazardous material in there and then deliver it to the school department and then put the equipment in. Football, headgear, shoulder pads. I'm just,
I I can't answer that question.
You don't ask that
Something I had
question.
not even
Yeah,
thought of.
never thought of that either, right? Didn't.
We've never had a problem. We rent
Okay, I just,
all the time from AAA.
because we're starting to see them wanting to be developed into tiny homes,
Yeah,
so they have to be, they have to be certified clean.
yeah.
Because we don't know if they're coming from overseas and what's been stored in them, especially the used ones. Brand new is
Well,
brand new.
these are maintained by AAA, so they're not coming from, they're not like overseas.
But you don't know where they've been
No, I
previously.
can't- But I can't answer your question.
So who certifies it? Building official? or-
No, God, no.
It's a good question to ask, right? 'Cause I'm sure in that industry, they'll have some sort of protocol or procedure on. what
Something
they
I
do
never
for
even
that.
thought about.
Okay.
No, it's dawned on me now, it's like because you're putting in gear that
That's
kids
gonna
are
come
gonna
in
wear.
contact with
No,
skin.
it's not that type of stuff. It is hurdles, that type of
Yeah.
thing. It hadn't even been a concern of mine.
Okay, good to ask. And it looks like they're $92 a month, right? That's
Yeah.
the rental fee, which is what it's been for forever, I think.
Right.
Okay, all right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any other questions for Steve? You're hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, item 3B, Columbus Door, $3,935, exterior door project.
This is for our proprietary cylinder cores for the new door hardware on the door hardware projects. As you know, we use the Everest system, which is proprietary to the district, so we have to buy them direct. We cannot have the contractor buy and also save us a little bit of money, so we seek your approval for the $39.35 for cylinder cores for the 5 schools where we're doing door projects.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Holmes,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Depart. Any other questions for Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We have no change order reports. On to consent payment authorizations. First items, A, B, and C, AAA mobile warehousing, take them all at once, total of $579.
These are for the storage containers that I don't know if they're certified or not,
So,
that we already are renting.
Is everything a certification process, right?
We'll develop
So
some.
moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. McCaffrey, second by Mr. Glory. Any other questions for Steve? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next items, D through H. So you want to take these all at once, or they're all ADS
Yeah, they're all
construction?
the ADS.
ADS construction, item D through H, $225,625 for door projects.
Yeah, this is for the work that's going on at all 4 or 5 door projects. They're doing a great job. I have no complaints about ADS. They've been on top of everything.
Any questions for Steve on that? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve ADS items D through H. D through H. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, seconded by me. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item I, All Board Construction Application Number 9, final payment, $25,079 for Greenwood.
We met with Allborg on site, went over a few minor items that were left. They have been addressed. I approve making the final payment.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve All Board, item I.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Glory and Mr. Kravitz. Any questions for Stephen? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, items J and K, BRNA Consulting Engineers for the high school projects, part of the bid 24-0014, totaling $4,050. Is this Mr. Bates?
Monthly progress payments for the commissioning agent for design services. We recommend payment.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Bates? All right, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve items J and K.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, item L, Delta Mechanical, $967.18 for Oakland Beach. Steve?
As I previously reported, we know we've had some issues over at Oakland Beach with some of the new HVAC equipment. We've finally figured out it is power surges and brownouts that's happening in that area. We brought Delta in because we assumed that it was a warranty issue. It was not. So this is we had to bring in their service department, so this is payment for that.
So what do they do with the equipment in other areas of the country when this happens? It's
Well,
strange.
this, if you give me 1 second, I'll expound on this.
Sure.
So what we found is that, and because of this issue, we reached out to the manufacturer, and they have recommended phase monitoring. So I just received a quote yesterday that will include Delta's work, the electrician's work. I will bring it forward next month, but it's too late to get on this agenda. I will seek emergency approval so we can get this going. But what it does is it monitors those surges and brownouts, and it will shut down the equipment to eliminate any problems. And we can check, and so it's going to be about $53K, it looks like. I can't seek approval today, but I'm giving you a heads up on it. But Phil, that answers your questions, that's what we have.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's, systems do have, grid systems do have issues out there. What, the equipment's not designed to handle.
But no,
Issues like that?
it's not even that equipment, it hits cartridge fuses, blows cartridge fuses and a few other things. The equipment has not been damaged. So, I mean, we've gone through this in depth.
So I get it, I just think it's a design flaw.
It's, I don't know if it's a manufacturer flaw.
Yeah.
But it is, this is a recommendation to handle it.
So is that akin to a surge protector then, say?
It's kind of like a oversized surge protector for each individual unit, yeah.
But it goes at the front of the unit and not,
It goes in
Box
front,
to the
it goes on the power side in front of the disconnect.
okay.
Okay, so it's hitting it before it even gets to the unit.
Is that something that maybe some of you guys, other people at the table would know? Is that something that you typically design into your systems or
We
your
haven't
projects
had
when you're
any
doing?
problems in any other areas. We have the
Right.
same equipment at Quinlan and have not had this issue, but it's been a constant problem and it was the same engineer. So we've had for me, it's not a design, it's a very specific problem to the area. And we've been scratching our head now for 8 months trying to figure this out, and this seems to be the solution.
Steve, did the heat last week have anything to do with it? The heat
No.
wave that we had? No?
No, because it was before that.
There was.
There was a storm and there was power surge, and we've had a couple of bad storms, and it seems to be related to that.
So what was the result? What was the damage, or what was the?
Oh, no, it was just one unit popped. Cartridge fuse popped, it blew because of the surge, and what it did, it was still throwing cold air into one unit. We were getting condensation on the outside of the unit, and water was just pouring down. It was condensated.
Did I not bring that up when they did it? That could possibly happen and ask?
We haven't had the problem anywhere before.
Okay.
Any other
I
questions?
didn't even know this
Was a thing?
equipment, yeah, I didn't know this was a thing.
Any other questions for Steve? All right, so we'll be looking for approval for Delta, I'm sorry, was it moved, Jen? We didn't move this yet, did we? Okay, looking for motion to approve Delta for $967.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Deport. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next items M and N, application 12 for Dimeo Construction for high school projects totaling one, what do you want to do, Steve? Both of them? Or one at a time?
We can do, this is, John,
Mr. Bates, would you prefer one at a time?
We'll just take them one at a time. For
All right.
Pilgrim,
Okay, item M is Pilgrim is $715,540.40.
yeah, that's working materials for concrete and structural steel, and a portion of that's also for general conditions to Dimeo. And we're recommending payment.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve item M, moved by Mr. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Deport. Any questions for left field? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, item N, $827,322.37.
So this includes working materials for the drum rock demolition, more specifically the hazmat abatement the site work contractor and a release of GCs and GRs.
Okay, looking for motion to approve item N. Moved by
So moved.
Ms. Glory, seconded by Mr. Holmes and Mr. Dukort. Any questions for left field on that one? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, items O and P. ECM High School Project bid number 240023, totaling $35,475. We can do these both. It's hazardous materials consulting.
This is for the survey work at both the high schools, and that includes the CTC building and all the lab sampling costs for hazardous material sampling. That puts them about 85% of their total contract amount, and we recommend payment.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve items O and P for $35,475. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, second. I'll second. Any questions for left field on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item Q, ECM, $2,867, Cedar Hill exterior door projects.
Over at Cedar Hill, most of the perimeter caulking around door frames and some of the doors themselves were asbestos containing. So this is part of the monitoring and everything we need to do for hazardous abatement so we could remove the doors and frames at Cedar Hill. Okay, seek your approval.
All right, for motion to approve item Q, $2,867.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori, seconded by Mr. Lucy and Mr. McCaffrey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, left field.
So moved.
Left field, item R, $110,000.
He is being nice to me.
It's been moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Ms. Calori. Any questions for left field? This is the July OPM service.
That's correct.
I think Mr. Gothberg would say you guys are on your keep, which is good. So any questions for left field? Yeah, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Item S, Rhode Island Analytical for $100, looking for a motion to approve. For $100, moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by me. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, item T, Rhode Island Energy, $18,351.12. Mr. Gothberg.
Rhode Island Energy charged us $18,351.12 to do the disconnect to the Drum Rock building, remove the transformer, and pull all the cables back. I argued a little bit with them, but they didn't move on it.
Well,
Yeah, question.
I was
Mr.
gonna say, they held us up 3 separate dates that they said they were coming to, and they're not gonna give us anything back. Do they not understand that we closed those buildings and people couldn't work and have work done?
You know, they don't care.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up.
I'm not defending them, but the reasoning is they had a storm emergency, so that crew had to go somewhere else the first
I
day.
gave them that, the
Okay,
second 2 times.
The second 2 times, they had emergencies underground in Providence, and they did not come. So that was verified, they weren't lying to me, so
Okay.
there's not much we can do.
Time, yeah.
But they did charge us anyway.
Charges, what, $18,000?
As far as they could go.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 separate crews on site doing the work, and they did the first Saturday, they did do the overhead disconnect. But,
Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
yeah, no,
No, it's good to make that public too. Yeah.
I mean,
Felt the same way.
It took 4 tries.
All right, so looking for a motion to approve Rhode Island Energy for $18,351. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Dukort.
I have questions.
Questions?
Because there's no power to the building any longer, where do we stand with the demo? Because the fire marshal has concerns that now it's an unprotected building.
So we received the last piece that we need this morning, which is the letter from ECM certifying that the abatement has been complete. That'll go in with the demo permit, and then that application will be complete. As soon as we have that permit in hand, we plan to start the demo of that building.
Have you applied for the demo?
Select Demo has applied, yeah, the contractor performing the work.
Do we know what permit, I need to chase this. So he's,
Yeah, I'll follow up with that permit
because that's
number for you.
important to him, because now there's no notification that the building's on fire. I know
Understood.
it's probably non-combustible, but let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
Provide that
Save
information.
us some demo costs.
It seemed a lot burning.
Okay. Any other questions for,
Thank you.
all right. Hearing none. It's been moved and seconded. Looking for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There you go.
Next, Secosha and Associates, items U through Y totaling $6,868.
This is for construction administration, for the 5 door projects, seeking approval for $6,868.
All right, looking for a motion to approve Secosha items U through Y.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. Any questions for Steve or Secosha? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item Z, Secosha and Associates, $59,070, Tollgate High School Design, July 25 services. Mr. Bates?
It's a progress payment for July services. It's relatively small as compared to previous billings. I haven't seen the invoice myself. I don't know, Steve, if you know why. Does this close you out for design or?
I think this is the first 10% payment on the bidding process, because we're doing the RFIs and submittals.
Okay, so it's a 10% billing of the bidding phase of your services. Which makes sense. That puts you at just under 70% of your total contract amount, which, I don't know, it might be a little high, but you're certainly working and we recommend payment.
Okay, all right. So looking for a motion to approve Secosha. Moved by Mr. Kravitz. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. DeCourt and Mr. Lucy. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item double A, Vito's Express, bid number 25002, $128,000, Holland Renovation, final payment.
This should be this is the final payment on the move from Gorton to Holloman, to move Holloman back to the school. To refresh everyone's memory, I did talk to Ride on this. We can pay out of the bond because it's part of the construction cost, so we seek your approval. Everything is moved back, did a really good job. Facilities is pleased, so we seek your approval.
All right, looking for a motion to approve Vito's for $128,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Holmes. Quick question, Steve. It's payable through bond. Is it reimbursable? Would we get the base rate of 35% back?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
that is correct, yes.
Okay. All right, so any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to new business discussion, capital and construction project status update. Mr. Gosper.
Okay, Holloman is essentially complete. We are just waiting for WB Mason to finish up a couple minor items. Their vertical panels, filler panels were being put in yesterday. And we have one more, the vertical file cabinets have to be replaced. So there's a little bit of work there. They will be done by the middle of next week, or we will be having a problem with them. So they've had manpower issues. They have not been consistent, but
Who is this?
WB Mason's
WB?
installer.
Okay. You haven't had problems with them before, though, right?
No, they're overextended.
Okay.
They just, there's no help out there to do this.
Okay. And that's it,
I
right?
understand their pain, but their pain, I don't want to get our pain.
That's all? No more? Everything's wrapped up, right? I think,
Yeah,
pretty much.
That's-
Okay.
And then the door projects are going very, very well. I can't speak highly enough for, and I think Al can back me up on this. ADS has been on top of everything. They are communicative.
That's right.
They report weekly on what's going on, which is kind of unusual for a project that's not that big, but every Friday you can get an email where they are, where they're going to be next week, expectations. We're very pleased. This is the second big project we've done with them, and I would not hesitate to give them another project if they're a little bidder.
And the quality is very good.
Yeah, quality is really good.
That's good. Okay, any other questions for Steve on those? All right, next, new business item 2, discussion, high school project update per left field. Is this Mr. Bates?
Yeah, I'll kick us off.
You're the eloquent spokesperson instead of Mr. Spiegel?
I'll just get us going, so.
So moved.
We'll touch on finances real quick as we transition from design into construction. Makes sense to let the committee know that we've spent $21.4 million to date out of that $350 million bond. That's about 6.13% of the total bond amount. 3/4 of that money has been towards design fees, which makes sense as we close out design. 15% of that's already gone to construction. That includes pre-construction for Demio, and then about 9% for your project manager, left field. Any questions on the finances? I can quickly pivot to schedule. So I'll start with Pilgrim, but this really applies to both schools. So early in the year, we were targeting a end of April mobilization for both projects. So you know about the Pilgrim situation with the soils. We're still working with RIDEM on that remediation process. We've lost about just over 4 months entirety in a best case scenario. We think we're probably going to start mobilizing in the beginning of September, right? So losing over 4 months, we've asked Demio over the last few months to really take a hard look at the schedule, top to bottom, try to condense, find flow. They've taken a good look at it, but there's only so much you can squeeze the schedule, right? So that said, rather than the early, what we initially target as a September 27 move-in date for both schools, no longer realistic. Our current schedule, and you probably saw it when you reviewed the GMP over the weekend, now has a Pilgrim substantial completion date at the end of November 2027. And similarly, Tollgate, which has also had its share of issues, you know, about the ride redesign effort that we had to engage in that cost us time. That is targeting a substantial completion date for the building of the end of October of 27, right? So we're not getting into these buildings for the beginning of the school year in the fall of 27. What's much more likely is that we would do a move-in over that Christmas break, that holiday break at the end of that first semester. Not what we originally had planned, but we do see some benefits to it, and others can comment on it. But you know, and to summarize, I mean, it makes for less of a chaotic move-in process over the summer. Steve and his team are familiar with the summer slammers and the chaos that goes along with that. In this case, we can do a more gradual transition. We can finish up the building properly with testing and punch list over the fall semester. We can conduct tours for students and staff over that fall semester while the building's being finished up, and then have a more polished turnkey product for you as you move in January of 28. So there are some benefits to that, as opposed to a very rushed, condensed summer slammer move in over that 27 summer.
And I've moved in a building, the 11th hour in Pawtucket, the Henry Winters School, when the building got substantial completion and approval from the fire marshal the day before it was supposed to be open. And it was incredibly, incredibly disruptive for students and staff during that movement. There were still open ceilings, there were still walls that needed to be painted, some electrical sockets didn't work. It was very, very difficult for the staff and for the teachers.
And if I can use Windman as an example, we rushed to get that done. And it took 6-7 months to work out all the bugs, to get everything working. And we actually ended up doing work the following summer. This way, we believe we can get the majority of the bugs worked out before the building's open. And as John has said, it's a much smoother transition. and being able to walk the students and staff through the building, to get them acclimated to the building, understand the wayfinding, see where the classrooms are instead of rushing in at the beginning of the year. I think it's going to be a little smoother.
So both schools will have to do a dual schedule, just so you know.
Yeah. I didn't say it's going to be easy.
Oh,
I said it was going to
You didn't
be,
expect anything different.
yeah.
I expect nothing anymore.
No, I mean, there's things we can't control. If you look at Tollgate, not only do we have the ride issues, but we still do not have DEM approval for certain wetlands areas up in that area. So we have done everything we can do, and we put in our answers almost a month ago, on the last round of, comments by DEM, and we still do not have answers. So we're doing everything we can do. I don't think this team can do any more, to move this ahead.
We pulled political as well.
Yeah, well, I
And that did not get us anywhere.
What do you mean
reached
by
out
that?
to Sakarchi, and Mr. Sakarchi reached out to DEM, and that did absolutely nothing.
When was that?
That was probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah, 6 weeks ago. And the response, this has been an issue across. South Kingstown is having this issue with DEM as well. The issue is that they're overworked, they're understaffed is what they say, and all of the DOT projects that are coming online, especially the Washington Bridge project, to stretch their staff. We have received a letter back. We submitted something to DEM 2 months ago, and the letter that we received back from DEM said, we haven't looked at it, we will pick it up sometime in August. It's a pretty difficult situation.
They also, DEM transitioned to a new computer system, so there was a period of time where they just basically stopped accepting any new applications
That one
or
I've heard.
processing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 months alone.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, there are things we control and things we don't control. And then we're now victim, for lack of a better word, to those things that we don't control. Obviously, the soil situation at Pilgrim, that brings out 2 strings of Monday morning quarterbacks. And they've already come out, so, and they will. But, people wonder, why didn't you test the soil before you even started the project? Because you don't.
Well, you also don't have the money.
Right, so I think, that's to be expected. I don't listen to that. The way I look at it is, we did what we did at the appropriate time. Now it's in DEM's hands. If they're overstaffed or whatever, we have no control over that. No control over that. And it stinks that we can't move in on September, but it is what it is, right? So what do you do, just throw hands up and say, forget it, won't do anything else anymore? So, it's not ideal, but, we're gonna find any good out of this that we can. So that's all I can say when it comes to that, so.
The arsenic issue, that's the issue at Pilgrim?
No, it's not arsenic, it's the PAHs, and there's one spot of monochloride. But there's actually arsenic, they recently changed the regs it's raised up to 19 SDCs. So there's zero arsenic.
What's the federal limit on arsenic? It's like 150?
It's like 300, it's way above ours. The Beacon got it wrong. So the Beacon said it's arsenic that's causing this, and it's not. It's
polyaromatic hydrocarbons.
Yeah,
as
it's
come to it, yeah.
And those are uncombusted, it's petroleum projects that haven't been fully combusted. So if your car backfires, it's gonna spit out.
Well, it's the cinder track that was on the site. That's what it is. And it gets tracked, and you can pick that up on your sneakers as you walk around the site, and it entrails easily. So that's why it's sporadically dispersed all over that area. And I think they built the new track just over the cinder track, right? So they didn't remove the cinder.
And, who knows how much of that cinder they moved around the site when they were.
How was it when you were there?
Hmm?
How was it when you were there?
I ran
No worse for you.
But
You're all right.
I got cancer twice,
That's
so-
relative.
So is Tollgate specifically the wetlands?
It's the wetlands issue. There's no soil contamination in Pilgrim. Tollgate.
And
One classroom.
and ledge is moving well, I believe, as well. So
Oh, yes, I feel it daily.
Yeah, well, it's an alarm clock. Is how we.
Yes, it is. It's like 10 past 10,
Yeah,
10:15.
exactly. But ledge is going well there. It's just, It's authorities having jurisdiction, as David said, it's things outside of. Yeah, we brought on the environmental engineer, God, it must have been 18 months
It's
ago.
one of the first things we did when
First
we
thing
were
we did,
hired
yeah.
is we put out that RFP. And
So is the arsenic not an issue anymore?
No,
it's not an issue.
never really was,
Yeah.
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 So
Well, in that first public meeting,
It was.
arsenic was spoke about almost the entire meeting. At the first public meeting.
we had to do a study at Tollgate specifically because we had one or two areas that popped just like a couple of tenths of a point above at the time, what was the arsenic maximum, which has since changed as of last week. We did that additional exercise of doing a more comprehensive testing all around Tollgate, improved our item that it's not like a systemic issue or whatever, however you want to describe it. It's unfortunate we had to do that, only to have a few weeks later, the regs changed.
But are you
right?
talking about Pilgrim?
I'm talking about Tollgate now.
Tollgate, okay.
There was a couple of pops at Pilgrim.
Yeah, well, on the football field. I went to that meeting and that's,
One or two.
that was what the,
And I remember we had a public meeting, we discussed how it was, while it's above Rhode Island, it's below federal, and it's even below our neighbors to the north, Massachusetts. It sounds now that Rhode Island has caught up to Massachusetts.
okay. But we,
Yeah, so
but we
it's-
moved 2 million out of the contingency for the eventual, the potentiality of having to remove, what, a foot of soil across that whole thing to deal with the
It
arsenic.
was 6 inches, I think.
Or 6 inches,
the
whatever it
allowance
was.
for
Like
6
a worst
inches
case
over the
scenario.
entire site. So what
Okay.
the actual remedial plan is gonna be is different. It's gonna be, we're gonna take that phase 1, which is that eastern portion of the site where the new building's gonna
Right.
go, where the football field is now, and we're going to take 2 feet, the top 2 feet off that entire area. So that $2.1 million allowance is probably not gonna hold true. There's gonna be some credits because we're not gonna have to do that Hall Road anymore. There's gonna be, a couple of, benefits to it, but overall, I think it's gonna be a hit. Because that allowance didn't factor in some other things, right? Tipping fees, things like that for the disposal.
But is that what DEM is gonna recommend, or is that what we feel
Well,
is the best thing to
it's-
do?
well, it's a combination, yeah. So part of it is what gets us the approval from DEM much quicker. If we were to individually spot test areas to try to reduce the cost, now we're talking about another 30-day waiting period and a 10-day,
Okay.
another meeting, another public meeting. You have to do that for every single time you retest. So we're gonna be losing additional months on our schedule, which costs
Yeah.
money, a lot of money.
Understood. I get it.
John, did I miss anything?
No, we had a conversation, Dinio and Ty Bond, we got on a call and we really wanted to kind of nail down what the best economically speaking and schedule speaking, option would be. Do we spot test or spot remove, I should say, versus just stripping that entire area?
So stripping, just so I understand, because I just want to make sure I understand. Stripping the entire area is to deal with the residue from the cinder track? Has
Mostly-
nothing to do with arsenic.
No.
There's nothing to do with
Arsenic is
arsenic.
not.
So it's not, so we're gonna remove that from the lexicon
We'll
here.
Cinder
we'll
track.
call John
Yeah.
Howell after this. to make
Okay,
sure.
so it's the cinder track and the P, whatever it is.
There's
whatever
one
acronym.
location of that vinyl chloride where it could be in the water, and we have to address that carefully. But that gets done down the road because it's not within that phase 1.
Right, that's on the other side with
Right,
it, near the
It's on the building.
oil, underground
When we
oil tank.
demo the existing building in a couple of years, that's when we'll have to worry about it. But for right now, we just want to take that top 2 feet off because there were no hits below 2 feet of contamination and just be done with it.
Okay.
And like Chris said, take it off and then DEM satisfied and we don't have to touch base with them every 2 weeks with more test results and, it would just be a nightmare.
Yeah, no, you'd be going into 2027.
Right.
Still waiting for, okay,
Right.
all right.
The other nice advantage of taking the 2 feet is now you've taken the problem away.
Hmm.
So you're not gonna have a land use restriction that needs to be monitored and, and verified and checked down the road. It just becomes a maintenance issue for the city. So that is removed at least on the phase 1. Depending on how we deal with phase 2, we'll determine the total outcome of that.
So now that we have, just to kind of wrap this up, now that we have an actual remedial action plan that's just, about to be formally approved, now we're going to put together some rough order of magnitude costs of what we think it's actually going to be. Because the allowances were based on healthy, but like just guessing, right, of what the remedial action plan might be.
It was what we knew at that time, what we
Right.
thought the probable outcome at that time was, which was 6 inches of soil removed over the entire site. That's now off the table. It's 2 feet of soil removed on the phase one is what's on the plate now. So we do have, it's gonna be some horse trading. There's some allowance money that's there. It's not really gonna fit in the buckets that we first identified, but we still have the allowance money. We're still gonna, to John's point, gonna be short. We haven't figured out what that shortfall is yet, but we're working on that.
Because if you're not doing 6 inch, you don't have to do now a textile capping, right? If you're gonna do 2 feet, you don't have to put the capping.
Correct. We were never doing a cap, we were just doing a marker barrier. So we're doing
Geotextile.
6 inches of soil, which was called a marker barrier to identify where you transition from dirty soil into clean soil. So there, like I said, we put different pockets of money with the information we had at that time, which made sense. So that's gonna help us, but I don't think it's gonna get us all the money that we need to deal with it.
Do you have another question?
The arsenic, when did the arsenic levels change?
Last week.
Last week.
I know they built that large building on Commerce Drive, next, where my office is, off Airport Road, the big 500,000 square foot warehouse. At that point, Kelly Owens at DEM raised the limit, this was 2 years ago, raised the arsenic limit for that particular project.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
There's
so,
some other big stuff happening right now besides our project that might behoove them to raise the level so that this isn't a problem across many state projects as well as many school projects across the state. The timing is convenient for the new, very large projects that are going on near Providence.
Went from 7 to 19,
okay.
and I think Mass is 30, right? Those are, I'm not sure what federal is. But
I think it's over 100, if I remember correctly.
So what else do you have, Mr. Bates?
That's it for my,
Okay, there's a meeting on Friday, right?
There is another
There's
public meeting.
a public meeting on Friday at Pilgrim for the property abutters to
and
deal with this.
right. And before I forget, just on that note, we did hire Left Field, hired a surveyor for the Pilgrim neighborhood, just to do a pre-construction survey in the event that people see large machinery operating near their house. And then they, find a crack in their foundation afterwards. We want to have a pre-con survey done to document the conditions now versus later. That's ongoing. He's already out there, I think, doing surveys of roughly 40 residents responded. So it's something we do on every project. It was done at Tollgate already, just because we were blasting, right? That was done under the site work contractor. This one has been hired directly by.
It protects the owner substantially. Wasn't a Left Field project, wasn't a Dimeo project, but some of you might be aware of what happened in East Greenwich, where there was some lawsuits related to people claiming that their foundations were cracked as a result of vibratory compaction. That ended up in several years worth of lawsuits. So this is a lesson learned from another project that we were involved in to make sure that we document so that nobody can come after the school project for existing conditions that already exist on their property. So it's money well spent, certainly.
Yeah, and I think at some point, we're gonna have to re-remind the community, because I got a call from someone the other day, and they wanted to make sure there are no construction vehicles driving down Fairfax Parkway. I said, no, it's all entrance and it's all coming from Warwick Avenue, from around that spot
I
there.
think one of the things we should do is we should put the route forward that to the beacon if at all possible, so it gets out to the community.
And put it on our
Yeah,
website.
and put it on our website, and put it on,
Just so
if
everybody
we haven't
knows.
put it on the project website, we should put it on there.
Yeah.
Make sure that the community knows what the routes are for the vehicles.
And I don't know if any of you have been by the program site, the city put up the speed cameras. So I don't know if that location is in our way. We have to make some minute adjustments to our gates and such, but
Mark, one thing I did is I talked to Andy Sullivan, who's running that project for the police. What we need to do is make sure that we look at the location versus the new plan to make sure it's not in the way, because if we need to get it moved, let's get it moved now.
It's already installed.
I know it's installed, but they just did it. They didn't talk to us. They just went and did it. So I talked to Andy Sullivan 3 days ago, or late last week.
Pays for that, we have to move it.
Yeah, if we need, we need to check
Because they approved the site location.
the new plan to make sure it's not in the way of anything we've been doing. So that, even utilities, any excavations, anything like that, because I'd rather get it moved now than later.
Understood. And just so you know, Dave, every meeting we have with all of our subcontractors, we address the truck route. It's part of the logistics plan, it's
Yeah.
part of their subcontracts. We are invariably gonna end up with some knucklehead who's
Oh,
gonna
sure.
drive a truck through there.
Well, no, I know.
I've given my personal cell phone number to one of the neighbors and he said, call me, but.
Yeah, I gave them, she had my number because I called her, and that's fine,
Yeah.
Until we get robots, we can program the vehicles.
So just as a heads up to everybody, the wayfinding packages and the logistics plans for the first phase of this are available already on the website. So you can direct people, it has the truck routes on here as well.
Yeah, so, and that's fine. The only thing I would just assume, you just, so the old movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington was explaining to me like I'm 5, right? So just don't expect a retiree to go on the website and be able to decipher where they're gonna find that. Make it easy, right? Just make it super easy. Traffic pattern. Oh, I click on that and I see the traffic pattern. Just don't create a website where you really need to be tech savvy to find what you're looking for. Try to make it, again, explain it to me like I'm 5. Boomer proof.
You were, did you need a good cry or something? Why were you watching that?
That was a long time
That's
ago.
definitely a
That was a long
family-
that was a
yeah.
long time ago. That was when it came out in the theaters. I have that pasted at my desk in my office. Explain it, don't assume I know anything. Explain it to
John
me
or
like I'm
Mark, can I ask this question? Last I heard, and it could be incorrect information, so that's why I asked, blasting will go through October? Yes, no, maybe?
James is the best one to answer that.
Yeah, there will be a second phase of blasting that will be after the start of the school year.
And what time of the day will that happen?
Right now, assuming the rock fractures the same way that it has in the south area that we've been, we'll probably continue to do 1 blast a day in that 10 to 11 o'clock range.
Okay, I just need to prepare people.
It will-
Moving away.
No, I know, and I'm
Yeah.
happy that you started closer to the building, because it's just me and my 2 secretaries right now. I can imagine if, I'm just preparing myself. I'm putting layers of my Teflon suit on, so I'm getting ready. So probably through October, but around the same time?
That's the plan right now.
Okay.
So, and it's contingent to change depending on how, like I said, the rock fractures and if we can go after larger areas at a time and whatnot. So we'll keep you guys updated as that develops.
All right, thank you.
Would it help if we had a meeting with your staff? before school
No.
starts? No? Okay.
No, I will do that.
Okay.
I will take the hit,
All right.
so to speak. I think I would be better if I did it, but if I change my mind, I will reach out to you, but I think it will be received better from me than,
We're here for you.
okay, and I appreciate it.
And then the blasting is going along fine, somebody said? Like,
Yeah.
Progressing just fine.
It's good, so.
Not a bad window when you schedule 10 to 10:30 range is probably the best
Yeah,
possible.
it's
time to
advisory,
schedule.
so,
Okay.
anyone who
And I
needs
think-
detention can get.
If there is a
I'm
good
just
time,
kidding.
it's not a bad.
John, I think last month, Mr. Enos, who's not here, the finance director, was looking for certain information that we're already providing, but he wanted financial information on that, but we pointed him to this, your monthly
Yeah, the
update
monthly report
has the financial draw
Right.
scenarios and all, okay, so he's got everything he needs, okay.
We're also going to start a monthly meeting with the city to keep them updated.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to start to make really big decisions now. as we progress.
Yeah, so we'll keep them up to date on
Okay.
any cash flow projections that.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Bates on the update? All right.
Wait, Mr. Towns got one.
It's
Oh,
not a
yeah.
question, it's actually a comment. Thank you for doing the survey. We have not received a complaint regarding the blasting. So,
Awesome.
nice job.
All right, now, what we've all been waiting for. Next, item 3, discussion action, approval of Pilgrim High School Project GMP. Who's gonna lead this?
I'll take this.
Matt?
So
just to kind of set everyone, a GMP is a guaranteed maximum price. It is a type of contract typically used on projects of this size. Left field, I think, can probably say about 95% of our projects are through GMPs. This price guarantees that this is the ceiling of the price. So this is the max price for the project, outside of any owner-directed changes. You know, if you decide you want to add a whole nother building, yes, the price is going to go up. We've gone through the review with Demio for over the past month. I think the first draft we saw was on July 1st. And this process is not we get handed a package and we just check a box. We thoroughly reviewed this with Demio. We had multiple back and forth sessions, working sessions. The result here is something that, in our opinion, as the owner's rep, is the best case scenario for the owner. It gives the owner as much protection and mitigates as much risk as possible. You can't mitigate all risk in these projects, but when looking through the way Demio has put the GMP together now with the 7/31/25 submission that's included with today's information, we feel that at this point in time, this is a safe, guaranteed maximum price to go into with Demio. Just a few high notes. We have reviewed all of the staffing rates. We reviewed these rates against competitors in Rhode Island. I reviewed them against competitors in Massachusetts. We reviewed them against our past projects, and Demio's rates are right in line with competitors, and even in some cases under. So that was good to see. I can also say that in reviewing CM fee against competitors, that Demio's fee is very reasonable. See here, the level of effort has been reviewed and revised. So when I say level of effort, I mean the amount of Demio staff that is assigned to the project. Initially, a CM will assign what they feel is best for the project in terms of project managers, project executives, project engineers, superintendents, MEP, project managers. It's a whole list of people. We had received a list initially on the draft. Demio made some adjustments in the final, and then we had the back and forth where Demio did take out a few extra personnel that we felt was unnecessary at this time. So thank you for working with us on that. Right now, Demio is still holding a 3% construction contingency. This comes into a discussion kind of often on projects, whether it's 2.5% or 3%, based on the level of the documents, based on the amount of kind of still open questions that we see in the documents. We feel 3% is accurate for this project right now. Now, just to touch on what construction contingency is, Demio has that bucket of money within their budget, but they have to come to Warwick for approval to use said money. There's language in the contract that if it's under a certain value, they do not need to seek approval prior, but they will report to us. So this is a complete open book. That's a term thrown around a lot with GMPs. We see how every dollar is spent. We see how every dollar is invoiced. If on a requisition, something comes in where, just for an example, say someone, not that Demio would do this, but say someone bought a $4,000 generator and we feel that it's not needed because we have temporary power. We see that in the requisitions. We reject that. Demio does not get to utilize project funds for that purchase. This is how the GMP protects the owner. What we also have within here are any of the previous letters of recommendation or letters of authorization. So in the past meetings, Demio has presented LORs for different trades, site work, concrete, steel. All of those numbers are wrapped into this GMP. So it's not as if they are in addition to this total number. This number is a total all-in number. Let's see, all bid tabs have been reviewed for the subcontractors that Demio is going to be recommending for award on Pilgrim project. Where we stand right now, when we compare it back to our latest estimate, which is at the DD phase, we're about a couple $100,000 off to the higher. But when you take 385,000 over 145 million, you're at like 0.2% differential. So that we feel that that's in line with expectations. And again, as Mark, as the discussion was going on about the soils, and Mark alluded to, there are allowances within this GMP that were based on the information at the time. Those allowances, if they are not expended fully, that savings comes back to the owner. At the end of the project, any savings within this GMP comes back to the owner. Any savings within the construction contingency comes back to the owner. Where we stand right now with buyout, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we have best and finals now?
Correct.
Okay, so typically if a GMP happens before best and final with subcontractors, the buyout savings gets transferred to construction contingency. And then in the end, if that doesn't get expended, that comes back to the owner. So a GMP really is to give the owner the sense of what the project is going to cost, again, outside of any additions that are made throughout the project. So right now, the GMP value presented by Demio is $148,894. And we recommend approval.
Okay, questions for,
Can you break down that 145 with the 3% contingency? What is that? What is it?
The 3% contingency is $3,763,142.
Is that in addition to the 145 or deduction?
No, that's within the 145. Yes, the GMP value is the all-in value.
That's included in there. We can take that out. We can bring that out.
Yeah, okay, so Luke does bring up a good point. So within that 145, there are alternates within the project, which includes the sports fields, it includes fencing, it includes playground, moisture mitigation, different things that we wanted outside of the base GMP. That way, as we get through the base work, get fully awarded, we see where those alternates cost. We also see what the breakout cost is for those specific alternates.
Alternates a deduction from the 145?
They would be in addition.
It would be added to the
Yes.
145?
Yes.
And what's the value of the alternates?
8.3 million in total, 8.4, round up to 8.4.
I had it 7.4. 7.4,
7.4 for the athletic equipment, fencing, playground equipment, and the grandstands and bleachers. There's another 900,000 worth of moisture mitigation there. So our intent is to test the slabs, and then if needed,
Oh, yep.
the alternate.
Correct. I'm sorry,
Mitigation could be.
when I added them up,
exercised.
I missed the top, I missed that, it was the top of the page.
Base GMP is the new building, the allowance for the demo and abatement of the existing building. All the athletic portion is the alternates, other than the moisture
One
mitigation.
thing, as part of the base bid, the turf field is included, right?
Correct.
The stadium
Yeah.
is included.
The
Yeah,
football field.
it's the athletic equipment, the fencing for the project, the playground equipment.
You know, I could tell you, just hypothetically, we wanted to include the two alternates that would give us, the full athletic field scope, would be another $5 million. So that would put the number from 145,048 to 150.1.
Right, so what, from an athletic standpoint, what's included in the 145? Turf, football field, the lights?
Yeah, the lights, the Musco lights.
Yeah, lights are in it, there's no grandstands, no press boxes, it's just the field.
Correct.
And the other fields, they were just practice fields, they were turf, they were regular grass fields.
Because the baseball and the softball field are a big one that would be.
Those are alternates.
Those are alternates, baseball and softball are alternates.
Yeah, that's
And
three
then
and a
We
half
do
million
have the
practice.
bleachers. The bleachers for the stadium are included or no?
Grandstands, bleachers, press boxes are separate.
That's, yeah, anything, or
Savings
anything.
contingency, where is that?
Our current owner's contingency.
Would be 15 million if we take out the 2.1 that we already allocated for the soil remediation.
Is that in the 145?
No, that is completely separate. The owner's contingency is on the owner's side of the budget. So
So.
that can only be expended if the owner decides, and that would only be expended if something were presented as a change.
So if you just include this school and their owners, with the construction contingency and the owner's contingency, it's roughly about $18.1 million in contingency. Unallocated, not assigned to
Yeah,
anything.
there's another school too, so we have to be mindful of that too, right?
Which is substantial, but, you know, everything seems to have gone the wrong way so far, in terms of soil conditions and things like that. So we're being very careful.
All right, so I'm not sure if any of, well, you guys probably don't know this, but if the building committee approves this, right? Then it goes to the school committee for approval, obviously. So the school committee may say, we want we want the grandstands, we want that to be put in, right? The school committee can make that
They can
determination.
make that
That's
call,
a-
but that point, then it would come out of the owner's contingency, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so,
Which lessens what
No,
we
I
have
get it.
if we do find issues.
yeah, again, I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of how this would work. But that's all, because, I mean, realistically, you're not gonna build a brand new high school with a turf football field and no grandstands. You're not gonna do that. It's not happening.
So
Can
we
you
would,
review the soft costs related to Pilgrim along with the hard costs of the 145?
I'm sorry?
Run through all the numbers.
That make up the 145?
the 145 is made up of the trade costs. So that's all the costs of work. That's $125,438,058. And then below that are Demio's non-trade costs, which include their general conditions, which is their staffing and general requirements. General requirements are sort of the, not staffing for Demio, but the other items that are required for the project. So it's safety gear, it's their trailers, it's their utility connections for their use, it's your rates are not burdened with your technology, correct, or are they?
No, technology is separate.
Separate, okay, so technology items, that's all sort of what Demio needs for them to manage the work as far as tools and equipment. Then there's SDI, which is subcontractor default insurance. This is insurance that your subcontractors perform. Beyond that is their construction contingency, which we talked about, 3%. Is a builder's risk value, which is required on projects. General liability insurance, required. The building permit cost for $838,000 is still in this number. ADA permit, which is state fees that cannot be waived ever, that is $36,000. That's, small, very small compared to everything else. Fire department fee, which is $562,000. Then Demio's fee, which is $2.6 million. Then after that, CMP&P bonds, payment and performance bond. This is something that we went through many looks at with our other projects. Specifically, I did in North Providence. And no matter how you look at it, it gets to a point where it is not recommended to go without a PMP bond. So therefore, Demio was carrying it. And then their pre-construction services, which we already have from their bid. So again, anything that's been previously approved or authorized to move forward is within this number. So when Demio receives a change order or it's the AIA A133A is the contract for GMP, that amendment will be the difference or the net from what was already previously authorized.
And then architectural.
That is outside of this
I
number.
know, what is that number for that building?
Yeah.
Do you want specific architectural or all soft costs?
All soft costs.
32 million, hold on one sec, let me look up there. 59.1 million for soft costs, so that includes 12 million for FF&E and the technology budget that we're carrying. We have 32 million in various fees for soft costs, architecture, project management, commissioning, etc. And then, as Matt said, the owner's contingency is included in that too. So it's a total of 59.1 is the percentage.
That's for Pilgrim or both?
That's, I'm sorry, that's for both projects. So essentially cut that in half. So 30 million for soft costs.
So FF&E is 6 million a school?
That's right. Correct.
And that's not reimbursable either, right?
FF&E,
You need to remember that
Yeah, I'm not sure.
350 is not the reimbursable number, 314.5 million is the reimbursable number,
but John, you,
55%.
last month, Craig Enos thought 6 million might be a little high.
Yeah,
Aaron,
so-
I mean, obviously, you're not gonna make that decision today. You're not gonna say, no, it's really closer to 4.5.
I agree,
But-
I think we all agree.
But I
So-
think we're reasonably sure that it's not 6 million, it's
Yeah.
probably less.
I think that
Right.
one of the things that this project has been consistent about is we've been as risk averse as possible, because once we tell a number, like we did back in September, we don't want to exceed that. So we're trying to make sure that we're carrying, and we'd much rather give you deducts on furniture, fixtures, and equipment, deducts on these, and carry the additional allowances to protect us than the other way around. We don't want to be coming back and asking for more on top of it.
That said, I mean, it's worth, I mean, we've had discussions over the last few weeks about trying to fine tune that number, so we have a better idea of what we're really asking.
Yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, we're not gonna, we're just not gonna build high schools that have a turf football field and no bleachers and no press box. That's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have that. The question really is, at what point in the process do we put it in? So, and we had discussed adults and we discussed a lot of that.
So
Going back.
typically, you don't really want to touch the owner's contingency until you're out of the ground. So once we get foundations and start going on steel, we can see that, okay, we've uncovered the unknowns in the ground.
Right, exactly.
And then we can start to track our owner's contingency to look to expend it.
And then for some of these sports, correct me if I'm wrong, Dimio or Matt, but some of these sports items can be purchased after, decision does not need to be made immediately on some of these sports items. They can be made once we're vertical, correct? And once we're going vertical? Dimio? Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the prudent way to go. I think it's a prudent way to go, knowing that in the end, we're still gonna have grandstands. How that works, I don't know, that's another conversation with the city, right? And that's not new. That's nothing new. So, it's not a surprise, at least in my opinion, it's not a surprise.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yes.
On page 89, it's the allowances, right? So I'm looking at allowances 12 through 16. And these are the ones I suspect might change, right? Because they're being driven by the DEM remedial action work plan process, I assume.
Yeah.
And so like, for instance, item 16, if you do 2 feet of clean fill, you don't need the market barrier in the landscaped areas, right? So that comes off.
Correct.
That's gonna be that
that's-
shift share of how you spend.
That's why I said it's some horse trading, right? So we have some buckets that
Yeah.
this is how we thought this was gonna play out. It's gonna change. So like the market barrier goes away.
But 13, if I look at item 13 and compare it to 15, they both have, the soils have to be disposed off site, but because one is listed as clean and 13, there's no tipping fees with that? Is that right, RC? I thought whenever you bring stuff there, you're paying a fee, clean or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so.
It just seems
15 yes.
duplicative, it's,
So 15 reads off-site soil disposal to Rhode Island Resource Recovery includes the tipping. So that includes, I think the
the
tipping.
13 didn't have tipping. I was just wondering if and then the 12 is loading soil, is that the actual truck just loading it into the dump truck, I assume? Is that what that means?
Right, so, and some of this terminology, right, is when, again, going back in time, we knew based upon the parameters that were laid out by GZA, that some of the soil was gonna be unsuitable,
Right.
which is different than contaminated. Unsuitable means it just wasn't meeting the gradation, wasn't suitable to be used as backfill,
Sure,
so it was
could
gonna
be
need to
patching,
be,
whatever.
it was gonna need to be amended, things added to it so that it would meet gradation and be, suitable as backfill, that sort
So
of stuff.
13, there's no tipping fees, right? You're not bringing it to RRC, a disposal facility.
That's what I'm
That's
assuming.
being.
It's going somewhere, but it isn't going to
That's
Johnston.
Correct, so those are the differences, right? And they're lower fees, you're paying a premium to bring
I
it.
do want to add that every allowance that you see in the GMP will require an allowance draw to be
Right,
submitted and
that we
approved
have
by
to
the
approve.
owner. Yes.
And that's going to my next point. It might be helpful for everyone if you could just do even a simple graphic that shows, okay, that itemizes, items 13 through 16. That kind of shows what's changing graphically, the depths where, just generally, nothing complicated. So we can kind of track the areas of the site that are being, how the soil's being, how it correlates to these.
So perhaps we could do that graphically on a separate document, but for this document, this
Not
GMP,
this, not this.
this will be
When
the
it comes in
exhibit
for the
contract.
payment change,
Okay, yeah,
hey, this is
Yeah,
the
that can be
area of
done easily.
15, and this is how much.
yep, that would be on the allowance draw, and they would designate it, this goes to allowance 13 and then we
That, I think that'd be
put the
helpful,
graphic, yep.
just because of the way they read, you know? It's only $2.5 million, I mean, but.
But still.
Mark, did you talk to Demio about dual obligee bonds? Sometimes on a CM job, you waive the bond, which I would be perfectly comfortable waiving Demio's performance and payment bond, and bond all the subs that obligate to the owner and to Demio.
So we've done this investigation thoroughly in North Providence. With an SDI, with subcontractor default insurance, I completely agree with the logic. You have bonded subs that are required to perform and pay their subs. With public projects, you do not have the ability to lien property. So when the subcontractor, if Demio were to go out of business and didn't pay a subcontractor $1 million worth of work, that subcontractor would not have the legal recourse to lien the property, which is a public domain.
I'm willing to take that shot.
This is
No,
not,
really, I'm serious. I've done it,
so
I've done it on public record.
the other point to
25
this,
years ago, but
there is a Rhode Island general law for anything over 150,000 requires a payment and performance bond. So this would take at this stage, you would require an offensive legal strategy to it versus a defensive legal strategy. And in our opinion, it is not in the best interest of the project to move forward into that. That would just delay everything further and probably result in the
we're paying
same.
for double protection, basically.
I said, I agree with the logic. There are regulations in place in the state though that try to keep people away from moving that way.
Could I ask Demi, have you guys ever done dual obligee bonds with,
Not on public work.
not on public?
We see it all the time on private.
You do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that kind of sparked the question in North Providence because it's a large project, $125 million project. And we are on projects that are $400, $500, $600 million that waive the PMP bonds. Because they work with Shawmut, Gilbane, Demio,
Right,
Consigli, we work with these CMs that are not going out of business.
right.
And they're able to pay and perform. But on the public projects, with the regulations in place in Rhode Island, it doesn't work.
It's General Assembly.
Yeah, I may have broken the law 25 years ago. But the owner liked it.
Kill the recording.
Any other questions for?
I just have
Yeah,
one.
Mr. Luco.
Would it be cost prohibitive to clean the soil and reuse it?
To clean it, as in to remediate it
Yeah.
and reuse it. I mean,
It's time, it comes down to time, time, testing, it's a new plan, can it be cleaned? Can you remove the contaminants from the soil?
I know, when I was in Smithfield, we did it at the Davis dump site. Cleaned and reused it.
the idea of doing that can happen based on this project, this schedule, this long, and the quantity. It probably is not the best choice for this project. If you were doing a smaller site and, you knew that soil would be suitable then for compaction and suitable for, underlayment, then you could look at it, but based on this current schedule and this quantity, I would not recommend that.
Matt, I have a quick question, and maybe you don't have the answer. Timeline-wise, what are we looking at for GMP for Tollgate?
That is
Approximately.
October.
October? Okay.
So we're, kind of to jump to that, Tollgate is going through their bidding process, continuing through their bidding process where the Pilgrim GMP has best and finals from the subcontractors. Tollgate is getting through that process now to be able to present that within the GMP.
Thanks.
Any other questions? When, at the next school committee meeting, which is not next week, it's the week after, prepare to devote some time to this because we have to make sure that we explain this to the school committee because my gut tells me that they may want to just say, we want to add some of those alts right now. And I think we need to counsel them about how the best way to do that is, right? Because like I said, at the end of the day, we're not going to not have grandstands.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yeah.
Would it be a smart move to meet with the school committee chair in advance to
Yeah.
explain this in detail?
Yeah. We can do that. Might have to be a Zoom call, because I'm on vacation next week.
Okay.
Okay, and then, well, with respect to Mr. DeCourt, the mayor has said that some of the permitting fees, he might be willing to hold them aside, because we've approached to say, can we just waive them? But he may hold some of them aside.
To follow up on Candace's question,
Increases my deficit. Give you some.
sure, to follow up on Candace's question, Tollgate, you're planning October, is that gonna foster any delays with Tollgate's project?
No, that timeline is
That's already been
within,
calculated?
yes, that's within their current schedule.
The biggest holdup there is DEM at this point.
Well, you said you can't give a guaranteed price on Tollgate, so it's just DEM that's holding up Tollgate?
Right now, it's,
There's
Yeah,
nothing
that's
else?
not holding up construction because we have
No, but
the,
I mean, getting that guaranteed price on the job.
that's related to the drawing issuance. So
Okay.
we're working through drawing updates based on questions that have come in and just updates that have been recommended by the consultant. So best approach to that is get the subcontractors the most accurate, up-to-date drawings and specs. That's what's happening now, and they're in their bidding process, which will come back.
It's in our best interest to, because we have packages that we can do work on, it's in our best interest to make sure that there's absolutely no holes in the drawings, or that RFIs have all been answered in the drawing set, so that we get you the best price available.
And then just to the point on the city, on the fees for the building permit, it's within the GMP value, but Demio would not expend it until they pay the fee. So if the fee is held forever, they'll never expend that money. So that $838,000 would be seen as a positive variance, and that would come back to the owner.
Yeah, but, well, I think you're gonna spend it, and I think when the city's in receipt of it, the city may keep that money parked aside,
Okay.
and if it's needed later in the project, they could release it to us or to the project, however that would work.
Okay, then you would see that as an expenditure from Demio.
Yeah, and I don't know how that works, that would need council approval and all that, so it's, the point is that the offer was out there, so.
And I'd like to just say one thing on the alternates. Time is always of the essence in construction, right? So I guess when the alternates are reviewed, if there are any that you're going to wait, say past 3 months, 6 months, we should try to define when we think we would want to exercise them, and we would have to go back to those subs to see how long they can hold those prices, right? Our bid form generally says it's 120 days. These are, fencing, it's the entire fencing scope, so they can't release material until we release them. The grandstands and bleachers are all steel. Everyone knows.
Yep.
The escalations and that we deal with.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
one request I would
We
make,
should define that.
yeah, I agree with you, one request I would make, your terminology for those adults doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You call, some of them were called, the playground, that's for the CTC program, right? The playground.
The playground is for the child development program and the program in one of the courtyards.
Okay. Well, you know what, I'm gonna take that back, I apologize. No, it does, but fencing, tell us what the fencing is for. The fencing is related to the athletic fields or the entire
The
property
fencing is
or
the
whatever,
entire-
right? Just so
yes.
whoever's looking at this, well, my colleagues looking at this next week or next month, it's very clear what it is, right? So whatever number 6 is, base bid, premium cost of right, MWB participation, amount of approximately $750,000 within the plumbing scope of work. And just, and explain to me like I'm 5, tell me what that means.
I think we're gonna have to put together a quick presentation, Leftfield will, in collaboration with Demio for the benefit of the school committee. And I think it has to go in some detail on what you just mentioned, and probably also address the schedule. And I think the schedule discussion's deserving a little bit of time, particularly for the school committee because of the impact of the schools, obviously, right? So.
Yeah, and I think the school committee won't drag its feet on what adults that it would like to see in the project.
Yeah.
They're not gonna drag their feet. I'm pretty confident of that. So then it's a question of, okay, these are the ones we want in, but you're telling us you don't do it right away. So you need to get out of the ground first. To your point about 3 months, 60 days, if you're not out of the ground in that time, why would we, or we could just say, we're gonna do it anyway, and this is what we wanna add in, so.
Yeah, at that point though, Warwick and Demio will work together, because if it's a delay that's resulting not because of the city or school department or anything like that, and it's a result of the construction, then obviously Demio will have to work with us to stay true to the price that was advertised.
And then that's the second half of the project, right? The fields are the second half, so, okay.
I do want to say though, for, excuse me, for moving forward with this GMP, the project does not have a month, does not have 2 months to kind of kick the GMP down the road. So I know that Demio has subcontractor pricing agreed. If this were to be delayed to like a next month meeting, those subcontractors could come back and say, oh, now it costs X amount more.
Yeah.
So
No, understood. No, yeah, understood. I don't foresee that. We'll have a meeting with the chair and just, explain, in real terms what it means. And then we'll go from there. I don't think that's an issue. Again, normally we'd have the meeting next week, but I'm away, so they accommodated me and made it the following week. So, okay. Any other questions for left field?
The allowances, if that remediation goes from 2 million to 4 million, that's not in the GMP.
correct, that would be an owner change, so that would come out of our owner's contingency. The risk on the allowances are on the owner. Risk on holds are on the CM.
So there's no way, those allowances aren't typically guaranteed.
No.
I mean, it's just,
No,
it's a
correct.
placeholder.
It's a placeholder, it's at the time the CM is providing their sort of best guess on what that cost will be. But it is a risk that's there for the owner and, should be planned for. So exactly why we wouldn't recommend expending the owner's contingency now ahead of getting through the soil work.
That again is why I'd like to see it just mapped very simply, correlated to those allowances. And so we could say, oh, because of DEM, we gotta take 2 feet over this area. That's why it's X.
Yeah,
On the
that's-
site work and the landscaping allowances associated with the contaminated soil, if you look at the backup sheets for those packages, O2A and O2C, we broke down those allowances, defined them as so many yards at a unit cost and that, so that there is science behind those allowance values. If you look at those 2 backup sheets, those 5 allowances are this science behind
I
it.
believe when we went out to get best in finals too, we did ask for unit cost to help. So we,
Which are here as well.
yeah, so we have competitive numbers for the allowances as well.
I think mapping goes to complement that science you just spoke of, showing people on a map the odds and the quantities. It helps a lot.
Yeah,
They
and
can just look at it. say, okay.
that's what we're in the process of going through right now, what we have in allowances and what we're gonna need, trying to quantify all that and get it into a manageable document.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All right. So hearing none, I'll be looking for a motion to approve the Pilgrim High School project GMP as submitted.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Kravitz, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Calori. Mr. Holmes, you seconded too?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, public comment. Is anybody here? Okay. Committee member requests for future consideration. Just reach out to Steve, Jenny, myself, Mr. McCaffrey. Future business. Next meeting date is Wednesday, September 3rd. Thank God.
That's the Labor Day, right?
Yeah, it's the day after Labor Day. So no other business before us. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holmes and Mr. Lucy, seconded by me. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 8:54. Thank you. How do I end this? Jenny? Jenny, how do I stop
Sure, it has
this?
something to do with your promenade building.
Jen?
Give 90 days.
Hey, Jen.
You 89.